Hey everybody, guess who it is? That's right, it's Simply Super Dave. Coming at you with another episode of Staying Super. And I know I don't do these a whole lot anymore, not like daily things, maybe not even be weekly things. But I will be dropping more podcasts as we go on. The whole point of the podcast was to kind of reach out and see if other people think like the Simply Super Dave does. If they have a commonality that falls in the middle of life, you know, the centership that I talk about a lot, which is you and yourself, your conscience, who you are, the energy that you put out around you, the energy that you absorb based on the environment that you have built for yourself. We are all independent in this, no matter what horrible life you live on this planet to the most exotic, rich, elite life you live on this planet. Either way, you are in control of your own destiny. Some of us don't have a really high pathway to go, and some of us have the stars to reach. That's just life. Is it fair? No. It is not fair. And so when people go out there, and I understand, this is the reason why I support progressiveness, and because we're trying to achieve something that's not naturally there for anybody on this planet, no matter what life form you are. Fairness is just not there. Look at nature. Watch any nature show. Okay? I don't care what animal you're rooting for, there's going to be a clip where they become a victim. And it's usually just no reason. No rhyme or reason. You know, and that's life. Life is like that. So the podcasts are not just reaching out to see. Mostly I want to find people that understand what I'm talking about and not fall into the trap of social media where the podcast is a viewpoint that you must listen to because it's the right way. Ha ha ha. Look how horrible these other people are. You'll never hear that on here. I will criticize people. I will call but see, I don't aim at a group. I'm talking about general people. You know, whenever I say, hey, you know, driving, for example. If you're going to drive in the left-hand lane, you got to be going faster than the speed limit, or at least the speed limit, okay? So is there a classification of a group of people that do that left-hand driving, I'm slower than the rest of traffic? I mean, isn't that going to be in every fucking group? Is kind of my point. So that's kind of where I come from when I do criticize anybody or I go off or rant. But usually it's about the system, the way things are, the people that are kind of in control of our own fates by laws and things they put in motion that we all have to abide by the best that we can. If it gets in the way of my pursuit of happiness, though, I guarantee you every single one of you motherfuckers, including myself, will make anything work for that pursuit of happiness to happen. We all understand life has rules and stuff, like, you know. But some rules are just stupid. They're outdated. They were put there for a bad reason, you know, a control reason. But, you know, I'm kind of getting off topic. I kind of wanted to nail down on this tonight. I like leaving memories of my life on these podcasts because I know eventually one day I won't be here. And when that happens, I want people to be able to, I don't know, look back and go, well, this is what he was about. Here is a critical turning point, major plot point. If I made a movie, this would have to be in the movie. And it would be a very low point, but a recovery point. The old Simply Super Dave back in the day, I think it was early 2002, maybe late, yeah, 2002. I'm going to go with 2002. I was at a point in my life where I was getting divorced from my first and only marriage that I've had. I quit 2 jobs at once and found the least responsible job I could find on the planet, which was a maintenance man at a truck stop, janitor. as I like to call them. Clean showers, bathrooms, mop the floor, clean the station, go pick up the trash. Yeah. But hey, I made enough money to afford an apartment, pay the bills off that one job. That, by the way, should say a lot about how different life is today. I'm working harder now than I was then for the same shit. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, but I'm not going to let that digress, ruin what I'm about to tell you. At some point, simple miscalculation of cashing a check that you post-date for a reason, and the business would say, okay, yeah, we won't cash this until 2 weeks from now. But then they cash it like the next day. That can throw things so out of whack for you that you just kind of, at that point in my life, I was drinking quite a bit. But anyway, I was at a bad point. So at that point, I figured I got behind on my rent. I just kind of gave up. So I decided that I was going to go and stay in Las Vegas. And for story reasons, I'm going to be kind of vague on where I stayed and who with, just because I don't want to reveal, me is one thing, but other people not, so much. If they know the story, they know the story. If they're there, they know the truth and everything. And they know this will be true, as this is a very important part of my life that where it could have ended. Like in 2002 would have been 21 years ago now. It's 2023, where I made this decision. And it's around this point. It's probably a little bit earlier, maybe March. I don't know, shit. I did stay through December. I think I stayed until 2003. So it would have been about this time. But I decided to buy a bus ticket from the great state of Louisiana and a one-way ticket and go to Vegas. But I had the intent of never coming back, and that being my final destination. Old SimplySuperDave had enough. He was ready to cash in. Ready to figure out a way to just maybe, I don't know. I had so many multiple ways in my head that I wanted to take care of myself. I didn't want to inconvenience anyone. Lord help. No. I had to find a simple, clean, nice way of not doing this anymore. Oh yeah, this is a great Staying Super episode, isn't it? But it's important. That's why life isn't fair. Life isn't going to give you the best days of your life. You're not going to... There's periods of your life where it seems impossible to have a best day. Like long periods of time. Those can consume somebody. And they did consume the old SimplySuperDave pretty good. Pretty damn good. I have my hard days where I realize my body's breaking down, and I have to tell these stories. I have to let people know, hey, you're not alone, but just don't ever do anything stupid. But anyway, I had fun in Vegas. I had a lot of great memories there, but it kept, and unbeknownst to everybody that I was around, that I had a plan at some point when the right time comes. I'm going to take advantage of it. And it was around my birthday of that year, actually. And I was alone. The house, everybody was on vacation. It was during Thanksgiving week. And everybody was gone. So I had the house to myself. So if I did anything, then at least nobody was there, kind of thing. Guns were not an option. Just didn't want to be anything violent and scary. Wanted to be comfortable, at peace with myself. The garage vehicle, I had luxury. Everybody traveled out of town by plane or whatever, so I had the luxury of having the vehicle there in the garage. Long story short, you get the gist. If you should be mature enough and old enough to understand where I was going. And I had a note written, everything. I have a file, actually. And if you ever get close enough to me where I feel like you need to know who I was, I will hand you this file at some point, and it's basically a history of who I was and what led me into the darkest turning point in my life. This turning point is important. This is the reason why you always get back up, even if you didn't plan on it. You know, there's something pushing everybody, and sometimes you don't. That spark won't give up on you. You know what I mean? And there was a couch. We had a couch in the garage. We had a dartboard. Many sleepless nights spent in Vegas in that garage. Writing song lyrics with people that played guitar. Great moments, like I said. A lot of artwork done. That I think some of the last artwork I really did. Anyway, I had a note, and I had a playlist of songs and what they meant to me. It's so weird. It's so weird. And like I said, I kept all this, because when I look back at who I was 20 plus years ago, it's like looking at a different person, and or someone I knew really well, you know, because I'm just not that person anymore. And since that time, I went through more transitions in a darker place, kind of, but I had to find, it was a road up out of the well. What they don't tell you in recovery, and what things they don't, and I don't mean this like, oh, you have to have a addiction problem to understand this. You don't. You just have to have a depression problem. You have to have a mental anxiety problem. You have to have something that mentally hinders you in some sort of way. And I think every fucking person does. So, anyway, what happens is, you are always told that you have to reach rock bottom before you climb back out. But what they don't tell you is, when you're climbing back out of your rock bottom, whatever your rock bottom may be, some people's aren't that deep. Some people have bottomless pits, literally, and that's sad, but it exists. But when you're coming back out, it's just as dark as it is when you go in. It's different going back out, though, because you have something you're striving for, but you're seeing all the ugliness you went through getting back out. And it's scary, just as much as it is on the ride down. And it's just as much of a battle to get out of that, to climb back out. And you're going to go through dark things to get out. And so I spent many years, and it wasn't until I found something greater than me to help me control myself, and that was being. I spent my whole life trying not to ever have kids, and yet I ended up providing and helping raise, but didn't raise them, but providing and taking care of 3 wonderful children, and actually kind of like 4 because of a previous relationship. But those moments always meant something to me, because I have since never had children myself, am a big kid. And so I still think from a child's perspective. And I mean, when I say child, all the way up until you become an adult. So teen, all that kind of crap. And so I wanted to be different than what I remember other adults being in my life. And so that was very a critical turning point also. But that didn't come until 10 years after, well, 8 years after the Vegas incident. I may have never even got to go through all that if Vegas would have played out like it did. But luckily, as I was fading away on the couch, didn't have to do the hose thing. I mean, you're in the garage, and you just got to make sure. Anyway, I actually did fall. I did go to sleep. I remember I was woken by a good friend. I call him Tupac because of his name, but he was Hawaiian, guitarist, great guy. Introduced me to Jack Johnson music. Another, God, I would have to recommend that if you listen to any type of music, you need something to really make you think, feel good, mellow you out. Jack Johnson's the way to go. Definitely look him up if you haven't. Traffic in the Sky is probably one of my favorite songs by him. Just throw that out there. But he opened the garage door and he woke me up. And I took that as a sign of, hey, I'm not done here yet. So how things played out down the road, if that would actually have happened. I mean, you can go other ways. I mean, for some people that, I don't know, that's a very critical point in my life where I had, I mean, really, that was about the best way because I remember everything I was pretty much at peace with everything. It would have been a successful, good to go. That's what's kind of funny about it to me and why I laugh about it. Like this guy said, something's wrong with this guy. Yeah, there is something wrong with me. And that's okay, because what makes me okay and what makes me not so crazy is that I know there is something wrong with me. And I do address those things, and I accept responsibility for my own shit. And I know that my destiny hasn't played out that well yet, but it's not over, because you got to keep swimming. But if this is as good as it gets, another great movie, by the way, Jack Nicholson, then I don't want to miss it, if that makes sense. Because life is not fair. Not everybody has the same path. And I don't want to wait until I'm too old to look back and go, yeah, I'm really glad that I went through all that. Needless to say, good old Dave got another bus ticket from Vegas back to the great state of Louisiana, and I am still here today. Never give up on yourself, folks. In the darkness of all the hate and fear that we create in our own minds, don't forget it's the same place that love and laughter is created. It's up to you how you want to play the game. Are you going to be the conqueror? Or are you going to be the victim? You're not alone. Peace out.